This is my video journal. It's not intended to be advice or guidance. I'm just expressing what I'm thinking and feeling in the present moment. And I wanted to play with the idea that your dreams might actually be holding you back. Especially if you've got unrealistic expectations of what is possible. And I don't mean that there even is such a thing as something that isn't possible. I just mean that the way that you think it's going to show up might be the reason that it's not arriving, you know. So I've spent a lot of time dreaming in my life. I'm probably to a fault, like I'm a dreamer. I get in and I imagine these incredible realities for myself, and I try to bring other people into my dreaming and like get them to imagine with me. And most people generally have a natural inclination to pull away because they're like, that is absurd, that is ridiculous, there's no way that that's ever going to be real, that's going to be so much work. Whatever the objection is, people are just like, nah, let's just focus on getting through the week, okay? Like, let's not put all these extra expectations on ourselves and like try to do all these ridiculous, incredible things. Like, let's just be people, which is cool. I respect that. But like, my point is, I'm a dreamer and I dream big and I have these incredible, like, I imagine as big as I can. I imagine like the coolest possible outcomes in all different directions. And I do it for my friends as well. And some, like, even like I said, like I try to bring people into my imagining and they're like, nah. Like, some of my friends, I do it like on their behalf. That's how much I love it. That's how much I love imagining. And that's actually one of my, like, the reasons why people want to work with me as well, like as a creative. So it's a fault for people who aren't into it, but for people who love it, like, and want to imagine as big as they possibly can, that's actually what I'm selling. So that's fun. But yeah, like, I imagine on my friends' behalf and on people like my brother, my sister, like, I imagine the craziest things that are possible for everybody at all times. Like, that's just who I am as a person. And yeah, even that feels heavy to some people. Like, when you start imagining all this ridiculous, insane, cool stuff, they're like, it's almost like they feel they're reacting to that picture, like, because they feel like they're not enough because they're not that thing. And I get that. I understand where people are coming from when they have that kind of reaction to like dreaming really big. But I think I've kind of lost that in myself. Like, I no longer, when I'm imagining the craziest possibilities for myself and for others around me, there's not really an expectation there. There's not really a like, this is the craziest stuff that I can imagine, so we have to do it. Like, if we don't do this, we've failed in some way. It's not like that. It's more like, it's just a source of inspiration and a source of motivation to imagine as big as you can. And most people would know by now that, like, what you can imagine now is nothing compared to what you will be able to imagine as you move towards that imagination horizon and you put all these things into place and you have all these new experiences and all this new evidence and everything that you're going to go through as you move forwards. And then you imagine even bigger, and then you imagine even bigger, and you imagine even bigger, and you never really get to the thing that you're imagining because you're always imagining. Like, some people really hate that, or like, it's not that they hate it, but they're reacting to it. They're reacting to the imagining because they're never arriving. But it's like, if you are aware that arriving at the destination was never part of it, that's those people that you see around. Like this, I'm not the best at this, but I've got friends who inspire me to let go of what I'm imagining even more, because they're able to just like imagine in all different directions the most incredible stuff and just play and just like have no attachment to outcome and just like, and like, for them, it's like all the stuff that they imagined, all of their dreams, they're like running around doing all these things, like playing and like people are like, how do they do it? Like, how are they moving in all these different directions, making all this stuff happen? And then their dreams come true, and they're the most surprised. They're like, I can't believe that this has happened. It's like, dude, you set that up. I watched you set that up. I watched you imagine that, and I watched you put all of the pieces in place, and I watched you create that. But like when you really, really master the art of letting go of the outcome and really just playing and imagining as big as you can just for fun, like a kid, it is like that. It is a surprise. You're all of a sudden in this moment and you're just looking around and you're like, I can't believe it. Like, how did this happen? It's like, you did this. So yeah, I'm an imaginer, and I'm working on being a person that can really, really do it without any attachment to outcome. And I think I've come a long way. And I think, like, if it was like a video game and I was looking at my letting go of the outcome level, I think I'd be like halfway. Like, I think I'm pretty good at letting go of how it's all going to show up, and I'm really good at imagining. But the whole point of why I'm saying all of this is, well, a new point emerged in that. It's like, don't let imagining the most incredible stuff for you be a downer. Like, don't let it be something that hurts because you're seeing all of your wildest dreams as expectations. Like, make that distinction now. Your dreams are not expected of you. You don't have to step into the most incredible shit you can imagine. If you try to maintain that, like, it's just going to be a disappointment, and it's a negative feedback loop. You're always going to feel guilty. You're always going to feel like you're not enough. Like, and that leads me to what I'm actually trying to communicate. And it's that, like, you imagine as big as you can, and then you like just step towards it. Like, it's not, you don't just try to be it. You don't just try to do it. Like, for me, to make this really concrete and very real, I had this idea of like driving around the whole country and around the whole world pre-COVID in like a mobile like unit, like a bus that just had everything that I needed, all of my camera gear, all of my equipment, and like I could just help people heal themselves and make this crazy documentary, and like, you know, like it would just be so awesome. That's the craziest stuff that I can imagine for myself. And me stepping towards that was finally buying a cheap ute and a swag and an esky and driving around the country and starting to just like make those connections and plant those seeds, meet new people, and starting to learn how to like manage a business on the road and develop a website and continue to my education and get new qualifications and make sales and land clients and like just trying to do it. And I promise you, it was like not even a fraction of the craziest stuff that I imagined for myself. Like, it was supposed to be, you know, it was supposed to be in the imagined perfect world reality, like this like beautiful, luxurious, comfortable thing where I had everything that I needed all the time and beyond. And like, if I didn't feel like staying in the bus, I could just Airbnb at a really flash place, or like I could go stay with really unique, exciting people all the time. Like, it would just be non-stop party time, all the best shit ever, you know? And I ended up like spending most of my time alone, sleeping in a swag, getting attacked by flies and mosquitoes, eating like baked beans straight out of the can and like fruit out of the esky. And yeah, just so basic and such a rough version of my craziest imagined reality, but it was still a version of it, and it still felt really good. So imagine as big as you can, and then like get realistic with, okay, so what can I do right now that is real, that I can actually step into, like step in that direction. And I think it would be fair to say that a lot of people might realize that they don't even want their dreams at that part. They might go, okay, so what can I actually do right now? How can I make this more my life? How can I make this more real? And then you like think about it and you're like, actually, I don't want to do that. I don't want to move towards that. That's too scary. That's too big. That's too this, that's too that. I'm actually going to make a new dream, and it's going to be simpler and easier, and Like, I'm going to enjoy it more. And I think even that's super powerful, just like actually getting really honest with yourself about like whether you want this. And I've talked about that in all different ways before. Talked about like living beyond your means and like thinking that you need like all this money and objects, and or even just you just need to appear successful. A lot of people like have that complex where they're like, they need to be seen a certain way by the others in their life, and all these things are just heavy. And I've realized all of that through actually just doing what I really want to do, and also all of the realizations that come with that along the lines of what I want to do is nothing like what other people want to do. Like earlier in any journey, people are all thinking that everybody must want to do this incredible stuff that I want to do, but your ideas about what's an ideal dream incredible life are actually quite original, it turns out. Or for me it was like people look at me like I'm insane when I say what I'm really happy about, like what I'm doing with my life. Mainly friends and family and things, and I don't know how much of that is like envy or like judgment, or you know, just like looking at me like you can't be serious, like that's how you're going to, you know, live. I don't know. It is. And now as you move, this is a bonus insight that's emerging in my awareness right now. I've had it before, but sharing it right now in relation to all of this is once you're living your life on your own terms more and more, and it's actually becoming original and unique and nobody understands it, there's a tipping point where nobody understands it so much that they stop interfering and they stop judging and they stop criticizing because they actually don't know what's going on with you. And that's kind of a new kind of freedom in itself, because you're just like, you don't make sense to anybody, so nobody can really have a negative input or any kind of input. So you learn to just trust yourself, because it gets to a point where like I don't really have anybody in my life who is doing what I do, like exactly what I do. And anybody who's doing anything remotely close to what I'm doing is the kind of people that I actually want advice from and I actually want to discuss this with. And there's nobody left who can even sit at the table to have the discussion who understands who doesn't understand it, because it's just like so beyond their comprehension. So it's like it's like this little bubble of like impenetrable bubble of dreams where it doesn't make sense to anybody. So how can anybody really criticize or judge it? And they just like kind of let go, and they're just like friends and family, all those kinds of people that we struggle with earlier in our lives when we're like, I want to do something really different, and everybody's like, no, don't be different, you'll die, the sky will rain fire, and you know, like those overreactions. I'm exaggerating and I'm joking, but yeah, when your friends and family are like, just get a degree, get a job, go to work, and you know the drill. I criticize it so much. I got to stop judging that, because you know some people are really happy just doing that. That could be your dream. Your dream could be, I just want to have a really like nice workplace where everybody gets along and I don't bring any emotional bullshit home, and I make a good salary every year that's very dependable, and I meet a beautiful person who I can share my life with and experiences with, and they also have all of those nice things, so that there's no emotional baggage related to any of the things that we're doing in our lives. And we have some beautiful children and we have a beautiful home, and we just make our whole life just an embodiment of joy and just peace and happiness. Like that could be cool too. But I'm on a quest, so sorry. I'm going to talk about quest stuff, and I'm going to continue to look at everything through this like adventure lens, and like everything's all crazy, and we're going to try to meet all of the most incredible people and have the most diverse experiences and explore every single rabbit hole and leave no stone unturned. You know, that kind of philosophy of life is where I'm coming from. And yeah, I don't ever want to change that. I want to actually accelerate this process because, you know, we're not getting any younger either. Like, I'm so glad that I've just gone for it so quickly in my life, and I understand myself on a deeper level now, and I understand why I was so motivated to do all this ridiculous stuff so quickly. And it's funny. It's just funny to me. Through like all of the introspection and contemplation and healing work that I've done, I've seen why I am the way that I am. And I'm just like, of course. I love it. I do love it. Probably, like, oh, I'm definitely elevated right now. This is me just getting very like enthusiastic and overexcited about just talking about how awesome life can be. Can't help it. Hopefully there's some kind of insight here that's practical for the kind of people that tune into these videos. Let me know what emerged for you in the comments below. Click the like button for me, subscribe if you haven't already, and if you want to see how we can connect and do incredible things, go to kailives.com. That is my website, and that's where that's the hub that I'm developing, where, you know, everything's going to be, yeah, orbiting around kailives.com for the moment. It might change in the future, might not be true anymore when this video finally comes out. I might be doing some other random thing, because another aspect of my personality is that I get bored really fast. And I do have things in place to stop that impulsiveness from derailing everything. I have my habits and I have my systematic and efficient way of doing things. That's why I have that, because I get bored really easy and I just want to set fire to my whole reality and make a new one every 5 minutes sometimes. But you can't do that. You need to have some kind of consistency and some kind of linear path through life that makes some kind of sense. See you again shortly.